What? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. Grateful to be in your company. Always grateful to be here jamming with you. It's another day, another time, another opportunity to be able to jam and talk with you about where we are from a national perspective, being able to identify what's happening out there. I hope that you guys are listening in and being able to have a great time with you. And thank you so very kindly for being able to tune in with us. I am grateful, truly grateful that you're here with me. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. You should be listening to me in Grand Bahama right now, 103.7 FM, Dove Radio 103.7. And really being able to jam. I want to thank them so much for being able to be a partner with us. Guys, if you're interested in being a partner with us, also, I'd love you to give me a call, 827-0111. Send me a text. How I can get on your show, baby? I want to talk about it. Some tickets I want to sell. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. This is light work, man. We can get that done. But you got to give me a call, 827-0111, 827-0111, and we can be able to talk like that. Well, it's another day. A lot of persons are out here up in arms, really being able to have a conversation about what's been happening with the Free National Movement, and more specifically being able to identify the event last evening. Now, I'm not one of these people who's count people. Like, I don't do that, right? Somebody sent me the picture from Andres and said, Howard, it's 23 people. And then they no, well, actually, 63. Did y'all literally count the people that was out to the Andres thing in Mangrove Key? That's too much. Y'all doing too much. You're doing too much. We know it was a scant crowd. I figured there's a picture that they took ahead of time. Not necessarily knowing when they took that picture. But I'm not going to sit here and count these people. What are you doing? But nonetheless, there are people out there that measure the representation of people and equate that to the potential at the poll. It's a lot. It's a tremendous amount. There's a couple of texts coming through, guys. If you want to be able to hit me up, please do so. The numbers that you can call today is 827-0111, 827-0111. I got a tremendous amount of text coming through as I continue to be able to jam. Make sure you pick up your papers, man. See exactly what's on the papers. I got the Guardian and the Tribune here, just being able to identify exactly what's happening around the country. But I'm not one of these people, man. I'm not one of these people who sit down and read. Like, I'm not one of these people. Sit down and read and count into these and read into these things. I'm not one of these people. I believe that there's a level of disparity that exists in there, but a lot of people that justify that through the lens of the fact that the PLP is the government of the day, and when the PLP is the government of the day, you don't necessarily see people wearing their political colors, and you won't see the FNM coming out, and they're scared of victimization. And I think all this is fallacies and foolishness in my mind, because I couldn't care less. If I say FNM, I say FNM. Let's go. I am red and I ain't scared. Like, that's just my mindset, right? But if there are people who are scared of this victimization, the big bad victimization, and this sort of an idea that exists out there, I can't fight them. I know that this is possibly how you see these things, but I don't see it like that. I don't see it like that. That's just me now. I don't see it like that. I'll look at the newspaper and see exactly what's what, guys. And we can be able to identify these particular things. Let's talk about it and talk about what's going on. Pinta, the FNM team is ready to govern. We can talk about the FNM today. I know you probably had enough of me doing that. We can talk about the FNM today. I watched the event last night, and I want to say to you from my heart, that is not the FNM I know. Politics, oh God, I hate doing this. I hate it. If I do it, I feel like it should be behind closed doors with strategic candidates and really being able to give a consultancy and give sort of the history or a course in this particular concept. Of course, how would you never do that? You don't have to be there to understand these kind of steps. This is what I've done. This is what I do. Politics is local, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk like this. Let's talk like this. Politics is local. Politics is not national. Politics is not international. Politics doesn't span around a region. Politics is local. The reason why you campaign from space to space in the United States of America, throughout the Family Islands, wherever you are, if you're an archipelago in the Caribbean and you're going from St. Grenadines, St. Kitts and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, and so forth and so on, you jump in and you go into these particular provinces, you're going to these constituencies, you're going to these areas because politics is local. The reason why our Prime Minister finds himself in this kind of a position doing exactly what he desires to do is because politics is local. Okay? Politics is local, and it's very important that we do these things. I'm on the show, so I'll be able to give you a call back, right? Politics is local, and we have to be able to be very clear about our position. We have to be clear about this. Okay? The reason why we take on this kind of a position to understand that politics is local is because no one cares what's happening outside of them. And when I was in Freeport, Colin de Gregory, what's his name? They wanted to make the shadow minister for Ministry of Tourism, right? No problem. And also a shadow minister for the minister who was Nico Grant. Nico Grant was simultaneously my opponent in Grand Bahama. Okay? We run it in Grand Bahama and Central Grand Bahama. I entered DNA on the DNA ticket for Central Grand Bahama. All right? We in Grand Bahama, I on the DNA ticket for Grand Bahama, and we jamming. Okay? I on the ground every day. I had to hustle money, $4,000 something to open up my headquarters. I had to go hustle that money. I had to give Cheese all kind of money to be able to put up a couple things. I had to beg the DNA for a couple shirts. I get the shirts. The fellas who come in and supported me, they needed a couple dollars to go do some stuff. I didn't get the money. I had to figure where I get the money from. I start hustling and calling. Some people tell me come for some money in Nassau. I jump on the plane. I get the money. I get the money from people in the DNA and people in the PLP. The FNM never give me money. I get money from the DNA and I get money from the PLP, right? I get all this money. I identify the money. I come back home. I bust the money up, right? I keep a portion for me. I give a portion to Osmond. I give a portion to Bridgewater. I give a portion to Roger Roll. I give a portion to everybody. Get a little taste of the money because I knew that we were broke. Give a portion to Sands, all right, in Marco City. We were broke. You hear me? Broke. We didn't have any money. So Ben, I got a couple dollars. Now I don't know what they do with their money. That ain't I don't have that kind of a spirit. That don't have nothing to do with me. You understand? If you was a thief, that ain't have nothing to do with me. If you was a liar, that ain't have nothing to do with me. You understand? That ain't gonna stop me from being who I am because of your actions or lack thereof. So I get the money and I burst it up and I'm doing all these things and I'm moving all around. I try my hardest. I give my girls a couple of dollars. I only give them a little $100 here, $100 there, do all these things. I had no money. I was so focused on the constituency that I couldn't hear anything else. Colin de Gregory, who was one of the coordinators for the Democratic National Alliance during that particular time, calls me and says, Howard, I need you to put something together for Nico Grant. Nico Grant in his particular capacity. I think it was the Minister of Works. He was the Minister of Works, right? Nico Grant in his particular capacity as the Minister of Works was responsible for the roads being dig up like this, and this, and all these things like that, right? So I said, okay, Colin, I can do it, right? I had no intention to do it. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I was going to do it. But I couldn't do it now. You understand? Like, I can't stop what I'm doing now to go and just write this letter to talk about, the roads them dig up. Now, for a great deal of people in this constituency of Central Grand Bahama, this was like, it didn't make a difference. No one had the experience of having to live in Nassau on a day-to-day basis in 2012, simply because 2011, 2012. So the experience that you had riding up and down in the road and travailing and the thoroughfares here in Nassau on a day-to-day basis, trying to be able to get to your space and do what you have to do. That wasn't the experience for the Bahamian people. That was your experience in Nassau. But the experience in Central Grand Bahama was an entirely different experience. They were trying to figure out how they can feed their children, how they can get jobs, how they can get these particular things. They wanted me to shift my focus from Central Grand Bahama and trying to be able to get votes that could put me in the House of Assembly in Central Grand Bahama to using my talents and my voice and my writing skills and ability and the fact that he's my opponent, using my talents to be able to draw attention to this from a national perspective. And so I called. He said, Howard, I want you to do the. I said, okay, no problem, Colin. I'll take care of it, right? Hang up the phone. Some time passed. I didn't write it again. I didn't write it yet, right? So, listen, if you've ever been campaigning, you don't have time to yourself, okay? If you ever been campaigning, people out in and out of your headquarters office, people coming to see you, people coming to tell you issues, and then you got children, you got wife, you got this, you got that, you got family members. You are bombarded all day. All day. You bombarded. You tired. So he called me in the middle of the day and expect me to do it. So I didn't do it. I said I can do it. He called me back. I obviously when he expected it to be done. He called me back and I said, Colin, I haven't done it yet. But I said, Colin, why you keep calling me? You have to relax. When I get to it, I can get to it, right? Or how was you going to do this, right? And it was an exchange, right? He and I had an exchange of words, and let's call it ideas. Praise Jesus. It was a spirited exchange, and I tried to make him to understand who cares about what's happening in Nassau. I am in Central Grand Bahama, begging for votes, opportunity, volunteerism, and to be able to move in a particular direction. Who cares about Nassau? Not that I didn't care about Nassau in a general sense. Not that I didn't care about Nassau enough to be able to speak about what was happening. Politics is local. It is not national. You get no brownie points for knowing what happening in Inagua if I in High Rock. Nobody care how smart you is on issues of what's going on in Iran. Nobody care about your relationships that exist in Silicon Valley. Politics is local. They only care about what's happening around us. Last night it was a representation of a lack of insight and understanding. For Howard Grant, I gotta say this to you because you always fight me for these things. For Howard Grant, as I look at this and I identify these particular things, I come to a very clear understanding for Howard Grant that the Free National Movement is losing a national race. Now, let's get a couple things straight. The Free National Movement's position is national. It is a national organization that has an umbrella over the entire country. Okay? They're not an independent organization that has a concentration on one particular constituency or another. They're a national organization who give representation whenever they attain power to the entire country. Their language as an organization should always be national. That national perspective is broken down into subcategories, subterranean, the lower categories. And those lower categories include, but not limited to, areas that are constituencies. All right. So we'll go from, if we could draw the tear. Oh Lord, I ain't got no paper. If we could draw the tears for you, let's draw the tears. Let's draw the tiers. Okay? We're going to go, we can start from the bottom, then we can go to the top. Bottom is grassroots, right? Grassroots or community. And that community is the constituency office, okay? Constituency office. So you start at the bottom at the constituency office. Then you grow a tier, and from the constituency office, you go to national council, all right? So your councils, which will have your MCMs, which will have your stalwart councillors, which will have all those particular things in your political organization, okay? So this is your political organization, and this is your councils in the organization. Out of the council comes representatives, right? And so the representatives are the members of parliament, Senate, members of parliament, Senate, right? So you got Senate, you got MPs, okay? This is your tier now. This is your tier. This is how it's going to look, right? And then from your tiers and your MPs and your Senate, right, you would have your cabinet ministry, okay? This is your ministerial post, your cabinets, okay? Cabinet. This is how politics look. You probably can't see this. Let me see if you can see this. Hold on. Guys, check me out, okay? All right. It ain't the best, all right? Don't fight me. It ain't the best. But this is how it look, okay? All right, so at the very top, you have cabinet, right? You got cabinet. Just under the cabinet, you got your Senate. You got your MPs. Just under that, you got your political organization. So out of the political organization comes the Senate and the MPs. Out of the MPs comes the cabinet, okay? And so that's the tier. It comes from your community, and it goes all the way up to these particular things. Now, you can't get to the first tier unless you get, which is your political organization, unless you come from the community. Let's just be very clear about this, okay? We didn't talk with me. We talking, we making sense, okay? I can't give you representation and speak to you about what our capabilities are without being able to have representation coming out of the community. Are we talking? Okay, we talking? Let's be clear. When we come out of the community, then we may be able to make those decisions. Every member of parliament, we spoke to you about Monique Pratt the other day, right? Which I was impressed with Monique. I told you that. I said, I listened to Monique Pratt out of East Grand Bahama for the PLP, right? And she sat up there, and beyond the fact that I was absolutely entertained by her hair flying in her face, and the wind was 875 miles an hour, right? I mean, they're so windy, my God. Chubby almost get floored off the stage. It was too much. I was watching the whole thing. Right? So I said, my God. I see Chubby put his jacket on. He put his hat on. I watch it everything. I say, Jesus, look at this. The people are swinging all over everything. It was windy, bad. And if you know West End, that got a nice little chill to it also. I knew that, right? I could look at that. And so as I'm looking at this, I'm listening to everyone. Paco came up and he talked about what he did and the years he served and so forth and so on. They cut the music on like Paco was at the Oscars. Hey! They turned on the music like Paco's at the Oscars, almost telling him to come off the stage because everybody has their allotment of time. All right, so you got to be able to practice these things, prepare for these things, understand these things, and execute accordingly. But when she stepped on the stage, I was impressed with Monique. This is the first time I can say this, I can say this again. Because I need you to know that there is a representation, there is an example of what can be done or how these particular things are done. Now, when Monique stepped on the stage, she started to talk. Now, given the fact that I think that, especially as we look in the retrospect and we look in the newspaper, right? We listen to, what's happening around the country, and we watch the newspapers and so forth and so on. And she took a lot of flack for what she would have said as it relates to the Crown land, and then doubled down on that by being able to distribute it for those particular persons at one of her events. Okay. Now, I don't have the kind of issues that you have. I don't have the kind of issues that FNMs or COIs and other people have. I don't have. I don't have. I am a firm believer that some of the finest gals in the Bahamas is PLP. Oh God, how would I could say something like that? Telling you, Jude, my wife is a percenty. If you know anything like that, you understand what I'm saying. I'm about telling you whatever. Listen, I've been going to these rallies and watching these rallies. The prettiest gals, historically, I don't know, but now, because everybody's wearing so much makeup, is trickier. The prettiest gals, hello, that come out of these political organizations come from the PLP. PLP got the finest gals in the country. You think I was looking for a wife? You think I just asking what's your prerequisite? Hello, ma'am. Are you an FNM? I don't care about that. Hello, ma'am. You are fine. Jesus. You find it in frog hair. Yeah. I'm not concerned about if you was an FNM or PLP or QRST. Won't you know LGBT? Hey, praise Jesus. I'm just being decent as I say this. The prerequisite for these particular things, as I'm looking for something, I'm not concerned about that. If I'm looking to acquire a thing, I'm not concerned about the organization that people are attached to. As I'm looking for these things, if the Prime Minister, which every single one of us serve at the pleasure of the Prime Minister, if the Prime Minister see it fit to be able to distribute the land to me during this particular time, yeah, we could row about it and talk about the ethical aspect of these particular things. I accept what you're saying. However, I got my paper in hand. I can get a amen, Jesus. I got it. I got my paper here. And I could hold on to it, take pictures with it, smile with my suit on. I got something that I've been waiting on and my family has been waiting on for a long time. And it didn't matter. She didn't distribute crown land and grants to only PLPs. She distributed crown land and grants to the persons. Now, she's at a PLP event. Now, you may not necessarily be one of the persons who come into a PLP event, but you got your things. They should have thought this through. They need proper consultation and advice, not in a bad way. But, their enthusiasm goes before them. I accept that. But I'm saying to you, I would go and get my paper. I'm not concerned about that. Outside of that, I thought she did an absolutely wonderful job. She spoke with clarity about the constituency. She spoke with clarity about the position. She spoke with strength and determination. She had a vision. She had a concept. She already hit the ground running. She did absolutely, by leaps and bounds, she did absolutely wonderful in those particular capacities. Now, if FNMs went out there and start cussing me and carrying on about it, well, Howard, you can't say that because you all just let anything happen just because. Hold on. I've been in FNM for a long time. And there's some things that FNMs have been privy to over the years and given access to that PLPs did not have access to, not during the time that the Free National Movement was in. And if they did, they didn't have first dibs. This should be very clear. There is privilege to proximity. Amen. I don't care how you feel about that. We could row until Jesus comes. You could row all you want. There are privileges to proximity. Even Peter get the gate. Peter get a whole job in heaven. He interviewed on earth for a job in heaven. But Peter, what do you say I am? Interview. I think you're the Lord God. This and that. And he started to go into that. And he said, flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, Peter. You allow the Holy Spirit to use you. Today, I give you the keys of heaven. This, the solid rock I can start my church on. What? Not Peter the cusser. Not Peter who say, I know the man, what happened to you? How much time you going to ask me? If I know Jesus, it ain't me. Not that Peter. Not Peter the chopper. And then chop the man's ass off. Peter the gangster. Proximity has its perks. Proximity has its perks. You use the F&M, you got F&M perks. Accessibility, proximity, and give you the gratification that you're looking for. You can ride with that all day. It don't matter. That don't matter to me. That don't matter to me. You could ride with that all day. I had to stop looking at these things as corruption. Because if you do, you can go crazy. You can go crazy. Your head get hurt, and you can't fathom and understand some things. But I can say some things to you and make you to understand something with clarity. With clarity. All right? I realize in my life you could catch more fly with honey than with vinegar. This disdain, this rowing, this and that. No. I watch people. I can't believe you're doing that for them. How dare you do something? You rowing. You still didn't get what you want. All you did was make everybody in here uncomfortable, and you still didn't get what you want. You rowing. You rowing. I watch people row. I watch people row. And he didn't get nothing done. And then I became a customer service manager. A manager of the hotel and a trainer in customer service. After I would have gone through all these years of customer service at the hotel. And I realized something. I always gravitate to someone who is able to be calm in their approach. I always assist someone who is not irate. I can't help you if you're irate. If you're belligerent and you're foaming and you're cussing and you're carrying on bad. We understand your discomfort. We understand these particular things. And I'd like to have a conversation with you so we can get some things done. But if you're cussing and you're carrying on bad and you're foaming like you got rabies and outside your mouth white, and you ain't eat nothing and your tongue white and you're cussing and you're carrying on bad. Listen, you know how much time that happened to me in the hotel? The people carrying on bad. I can't believe this. I had reservations in this hotel and I've made these reservations 6 months ago. This is supposed to be my anniversary. And you come here and tell me you don't have my reservation. They carrying on bad, right? And I just stand there and I listen. I listen. I'm mad. I don't know these people. But I know I could fix this. So I just listen. And I said, I'll tell you what. Come go with me. Where are you taking me? Just come go with me. And so as a manager, I could, set some things up. So I say, get him some, you like fried wings? You want some fried wings? You want some calamari? You want something? Just some finger food. Let's talk about it. We're going to fix this for you right now. Okay, no problem. All right, would you like a drink? You want a Bahama Mama? Take a Bahama Mama. Get one for the kids. Everybody get a Bahama Mama. All right, tell the kids, go down to the hotel, to the pool, relax, take the towels, and there's no charge. Just relax. I'm going to take care of you right now. All right? Call, fix a junior suite for the fella. So you get an upgrade. No problem. This ain't no problem. There's some privileges that I get because of my position. Fella sitting down, carrying on bad. Make sure his wife is comfortable. Give her a drink, whatever she want to drink. Give him a drink, whatever he want to drink. Tell him, relax. You okay? You okay? First thing in customer service, you don't tell a person to relax when they're irate. You don't tell them to relax, but you show them sort of a laid-back approach of how you do business in your space. And I give them a couple of drinks and whatnot. Honest to God, for the 4 days that they were there, I did this maybe throughout the course of my career, maybe about 60 times. Through the core, but this is one that actually pops out at me because he had the whole security out. And then I had to throw some people out of the hotel. I literally had to go in people's room, pack up their bags, and ask them to leave our property. But it's just how you approach these particular things. And I just don't. I believe that these things come with time. You really don't know. Listen to me. if I'm the best at what I do, I'm the closest. Praise God. I'm good at this stuff. I'm very good at this stuff. And so I take care of the people, accommodate the people, and show them these things. Every one of these things in my life prepare me for the next step. And in this step that I'm in now, as we continue to talk about politics, I could see how the entire country could be able to be up in arms about Monique Pratt and releasing of this particular information, especially in this sort of a heightened season. Remember I said that the FNM has a plan, the PLP has a plan. The only people that don't have a plan are the Bahamian people. The PLP has created a concept for you to be able to acquire something, for you to be able to get something for yourself. That one thing that could be able to change the trajectory of your family, and all encompassed in a little piece of paper, to be able to say that you are the owner of this particular property. This empowerment, something that you didn't have before. This empowerment, this opportunity to be able to access something is absolutely mind-blowing. This empowerment that you have in this space, this empowerment that you have is an amazing thing. And as a result of that, we see, we understand, and we listen. I empathize with the people who say that you shouldn't do this and so forth and so on. But I guarantee you, if they stay on this course, everyone who's living on a little piece of property, a little piece of government land, and so forth and so on, will have the access opportunity to be able to say that they own something. They own something. Okay. But I don't want to stray. Monique did absolutely wonderful. She spoke about something local. She spoke about the community. She spoke about what needs to happen in East Grand Bahama. She spoke about the concepts of what needs to happen in East Grand Bahama. Listen, everybody was on the ticket to talk about choosing progress. Everybody was on the ticket to talk about Brave Davis. Everybody was on the ticket to talk about the leadership associated with that. It's great stuff. All this is great stuff. This is a recurring theme, a thread that continues to be able to run through the Progressive Liberal Party at this particular time. He is at the helm of choosing progress. But beyond choosing progress, I have to know that you that live in the subterranean can support the progress that we seek to choose. How do we know that you're going to be the right person? How do we know? You got to come up with a plan. You got to come out and articulate those things. You got to be straight. You got to be strong. You got to be persistent. You have to be able to be engaging enough for me to understand that, my God, this is a good fellow. This is a good young lady. I got to be able to. And Monique Pratt, I don't know this woman. She never called me yet. I feel like I campaigned for her. Monique Pratt is amazing with her presentation. I don't know her personally. I don't think I ever meet her. I know some Pratts in West and 8 Mile Rock. I went to school with some Pratts. Pratts is a Turks Island last name. I don't know if she married Pratt or she born Pratt. I don't know. I's family to some Pratts or the TI. She was impressive. Paco Deal had a great showing. Great showing. And he's showing sort of a military type style of leadership. Like he knows where his soldiers exist, and he knows how to be able to put them to work, and he knows how to be able to yield fruit that he's looking for out of them, the people that's around him. I like that. Eddie Wong, optimistic. Eddie Wan, W-H-A-N, right? Optimistic. He is inspirational. He is motivational. He is the type of leader that you gravitate towards, and you believe what he says. You're convinced by what he says. You like that. You understand what I'm saying? Ginger Moxie is established. She's well known. She is working on the ground. She is doing a great deal. And people gravitate towards that because of a personal relationship. And Kingsley falls in that same category. But the new candidates, more specifically, that we don't know, that we've never seen before, that we're trying to be able to make a determination from, Pratt, Dr. Monique Pratt, Eddie Wan, and Paco Deal. These three are impressive for the Progressive Liberal Party, and more specifically in Grand Bahama. But the one that stood out for me at the rally in West End is the one that made politics local, that spoke about East Grand Bahama, that spoke about what was going on the ground, that spoke about the vision, that spoke about the execution, the expectation of what you can see from them, that spoke about these particular things. She made politics personal. Last night I was watching the Free National Movement's rally, and politics became national. Every candidate had a mandate and a responsibility to be able to go at the PLP. Absolutely incorrect. That's an absolute incorrect. That is absolutely incorrect. That is for the leader. That is for the deputy leader. That is for the chairman. You hear me? All right. It seems like y'all won't go through. You won't go through campaign and rally lessons in preparation 101. That's what you won't go through. Okay? You want me to take you through step by step of what you should do and what you should not do. These type of things I should be getting paid for. But y'all don't like a black man. You ought to go to a cul-de-sac in Utah to ask a man who never do nothing in his life. Nobody in the DNC know him. Nobody in the GOP know him. You find him. He was an independent in 1984. And now you're going to be able to bring him to the Bahamas as a top consultant, pay him $250,000, ask him these particular questions, and he can come looking for people like me in the Bahamas. I don't get nothing. I just so happy to talk to a white man. I don't get nothing. And the white man go home with $250,000. The whole time he was giving you consultancy, he was wearing flip-flops from Old Navy. And I can't get nothing for a man who's been studying this thing all this time. Y'all hate us. We hate ourselves. Still, we got to get rinse and repeat from the colonial conditioning in our minds. We got to get rinse and repeat out of this thing. It's got to get out of our head. Got to put softener in that. It is still the residue. We still hate ourselves. All this is observation. All this is understanding. All this is knowing what could see, what could happen, and anticipating what could happen next, simply because of what existed prior. That's all this is. This ain't hard. This ain't hard. I could tell you what existed prior. This is why I tell you, no one could campaign in this country better than the PLP. PLP is the best campaigning. That, and they got the prettiest girls, praise God. PLP is the best at campaigning. The absolute best. How do you say that? Because they always understand something. Politics is local. All the billboards out here from the Free National Movement that speaks to a national posture and position. When you go in the constituencies, the same billboard speaks to a national policy and position. They haven't made politics local. There was a hope and expectation that you would choose them to be able to change a national issue, but they've never concerned themselves about you and your local position. And I don't know why you would believe that they will. I don't know why you would believe that they... Listen to me. If a politician come... Listen, I'm watching all of these people, I ain't gonna call nobody name. But I'm watching candidates come up and tell me every Jesus thing about Brave Davis. Listen, Brave Davis is the best. We already know that. We don't know you. We don't know you. I know you need to be to give me the illusion that you have proximity to Brave to get you in there. But we don't know you. We know Brave. We know he's a decent man. We know he can take care of us. We don't know you. You vying for my constituency. You don't live in this constituency. You at least need to be able to say, I've done some homework on the constituency. That's all. That's all it is. Nothing hard. Nothing hard. We just need to know that you have been paying attention and that you can do some things. We don't expect you to know everything, man. Don't be ridiculous. But we need you to be in tuned enough to understand that politics is local. I'm watching these people. I don't know who writing your speeches. Wayne Monroe came up and told me everything about the Ministry of National Security. He skipped 3 tiers. You forget the people. Listen, after the dissolving of the House Assembly, the top 3 tiers are done away with. Okay? You start at the grassroots, you work your way up as a political organization, you go from the political organization to the Senate and to the House of Assembly, and then you go from there to the cabinet. When the House of Assembly is dissolved, the cabinet is dissolved. The House of Assembly is dissolved, and you go back to your political organizations, and because they can't go up, they got to go back down. You don't have to tell me nothing about Ministry of National Security. Marvin did that, and Wayne did that. All two of them. There's this thing in your mind that because of the crime that we continue to be able to be bombarded with and we wrestle with in this country, there's this thing in your mind that says, I need to reassure the Bahamian people that they're going to be secured. I got to calm down. My mind racing. I don't know whether or not that's this little piece of coffee I'm drinking, but my mind racing right now. I'm trying to tell you. This is why I have to write. Sometimes I just sit down and write because my mind all over the place as I talk to you. The Free National Movement were very good in 2017. They spoke with clarity and specificity to exactly what. There was a sentiment that existed in the country that says that we're going to choose the F&M. There was an overwhelming sentiment that says that we want to get rid of Perry Christie and we will choose the F&M. When the F&M heard that and knew that, their local campaign became national. And I thought that was good. Okay? Then you would have seen at the last 2 or 3 rallies, you would have seen Marvin Deems come out, and we sort of start to identify what we will see with the formation of a new cabinet. And we were comfortable enough to be able to say, okay, well, we're like this, and we chose these particular things. Because we have such a short time, they skip in the point of being able to make politics local and trying to be able to introduce this sort of a concept to what you could expect with a Michael Pintard's cabinet. Skipping that step is a serious thing, is a dangerous thing. You're skipping that step and you're making it about you as an individual. And it seemed rather pompous and arrogant as opposed to optimistic or visionary. You skip a step. You skip an entire step. You never made it local. Once you can make it local and people are comfortable with you, I don't care what it takes. You have to make politics local. You have to make it relevant to me. If I live in Tall Pines, you have to make it relevant to me. If I live in Pride Estates, you have to make it relative to me. If I live in Pinewood, you got to make it local and relative to me. I am the one that's have to vote for you. Nobody's vote for a Minister of National Security. Nobody votes for a Minister of Tourism. Nobody vote for a Minister of Social Security, Social Services. Nobody does that. People vote for individuals who are sent by a particular organization. Do not supersede the process that gives people insight to their personality, the characteristics, the idea of what you will do if given an opportunity in my constituency. What are you doing? I listened to every candidate last night. And these people telling me everything about a national issue. The Free National Movement has not been consulted well. They are taking the work to the PLP. I accept that. I'm not going to fight you. You need to throw some blows on the PLP. I accept that. But not at the detriment of being able to articulate your constituency and what it needs. The PLP has done this, and the PLP needs to do this, and the PLP, and listen, the language last night was just wild. Politics in this country is being able to get a little bit raw for me. I can't deal with it. Lying. This people is nothing but a liar. This one is a liar. Passports for sale, they're giving it out like hotcake. Ooh. This theatrics is too much for me. Hubert Ingram would have never. Hubert Ingram would have never do nothing like that. Never. Integrity, honorability, high standards. We ain't gonna beat you low. We can stand and look you in the face and we can jab, body shot, jab. We will never hit below the belt. That's the Free National Movement I know. The same stage where the leader got to come on, you can say something like that? Never. Never under Hubert Ingram. Never. Calling people liars? Never under Hubert. This is unparliamentary language, discourse. And if you can't use it in the parliament, you should not use it in the public space. The public space in our consciousness has not dissolved. The House of Assembly, in terms of the session and the government's agenda, has dissolved. Your character should not have dissolved with it. I watched the Free National Movement last night. I ain't mad at them. But I don't think that this is what what our expectations are going forward for politics in this country. Do not pull politics down to the dogs. Do not pull politics down to the dogs. Everybody already didn't say that. You got to be corrupt. Politics is such a nasty game, and it's a corrupt game, and so forth and so on. Most times, it's just the people, the characters that exist in those particular spaces. Other times, this is an intention of being able to pull it down to where you exist. You live in the muck and mire. You are like Shrek. You live as an ogre in the mud. That's where you live. You don't know that this is mud. You don't know that this is dirty. You don't know this is where you live. This is the muck and mire. And I blame organizations for engaging these particular people. I mean, these people freaking right out over a crowd, Howard, where both is fly over people to make the crowd look big. I wait on election day after them ballots is counted, because many go to those rallies going for a party and a little outing. Howard, they do the same thing with the manifesto launch, same concept, fly in lone people. Was Papa at the rally? I was shocked. I ain't see him here or hear from him. If he wasn't there, I think he know that the FNM gonna lose. I haven't seen Hubert Alexander Ingram either. His collateral has diminished though significantly. He's made himself too accessible. He should have been scarce and working from the background. He's made himself too accessible, too involved, too present. Yeah, they only miss you when you're gone. They gravitate towards you when you come back after this sort of hiatus. And Hubert Ingram hasn't taken a hiatus for a very long time. I don't know whether or not he's active in the organization, but I know that he's definitely present in the organization. You open your thing, you could see Hubert Ingram in South Beach. You open your thing, you could see Hubert Ingram in Kalani. Look back at it, Hubert Ingram, North Abaco. Hubert Ingram in the organizations. Hubert Ingram with this one. Hubert Ingram with that one. Pictures all over the place. You have to make yourself scarce. I got a call from my very good friend, one of my very good friends, and he said, "Howard, did you watch the launch in Grand Bahama?" I said, "Yeah, I had a chance to be able to watch the launch." He said, "Did you see how Pinta did not acknowledge Hubert Ingram?" I said, "I didn't see that. I can't tell you." He said, he called everybody name. He said he called everybody name except Hubert Ingram and Dolores. I said, I didn't see that. I couldn't tell you I saw that. Now this is an older gentleman who said this to me. And I know that this is what they look for. All the fellas, they look for how is his level of respect to the former leader. I don't know. I don't want to make this seem like it's a big thing if it's not. I don't know. We got 12 days until the election. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I like the FNM showing last night. I don't like their execution. I don't like their coordination. I don't like their messaging. The showing was good. Even though there was a little manipulation, almost like a sleight of the hand. Like you know what I mean? 3-card mounting. Like 3-card mounting, right? Choose a card. I'm looking at this and I don't know. I do not know. But I'd like to know. Give me a call, 827-0111, 827-0111. Let's take our first commercial break. Maury's going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to dive into it right after this. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, jamming with you. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be in your company talking about these things wherever you are. 103.7 FM in Grand Bahama. Dove Radio, YouTube. You can be able to check me out on YouTube, foundation242.com. Foundation242, I'm sorry, on YouTube. Foundation242 on YouTube, foundation242.com. Right across the web, or any one of the social media platforms, you can be able to check me out, Foundation 242, as we continue to be able to jam with you in this kind of a space and make some things happen. I'm always grateful to be here with you, always grateful to be in your company as we continue to hablar sobre personas all the time, right? Talk about the people. We're talking about these particular persons, right? Give me a call, 827-0111, or hit me up with a text, 827-0111. Let me know where your mind is, where your heart is, and if you see these things in a different manner. I don't see things how you all see it. I can't tell you, as a 60-year-old man, I've lived long enough. I don't have that kind of a thing, but I tell you this. I have studied long enough and lived long enough and been around these men long enough to recognize that their objective is to keep things the same. That's the fight that Pintard having. He doesn't know it. I don't know if he knows it. But their fight is to keep things the same. If you change the category, I'll tell you this. I'll give you a story. I presented to the Free National Movement government during COVID-19. I presented them a concept and an idea of utilizing apps. Okay? The very first concept I introduced to them, I put my team together, we sat down, we talked about it. We talked about whether or not we have the resources. We talked about how we can be able to reach out to get the resources. We talked about how we can construct these things and how we can do this. We talked about the strategically, how do we can be able to map these things? Where do we put the geo map? Where do we put the geo fence? Where do we do this? We sit down, we talk about all these things. And then I presented it to the government. Right? I call Minis. And Minis has been very dismissive. He's never allowed me. He's never taken me serious. Okay? He's never taken me as an individual serious with prospects and concepts. He knows I speak well, so they like to use me for, he could be a good chairman or something like that, right? But not necessarily that I just do business. And so they miss out on some business with me, right? Speak well means that I could get some things done also. So I had some partners in the States. Still have the partners. In fact, I expanded. Where I had 2 partners, I now have 5. Okay? And these are not partners that I do business with on a day-to-day basis. They're looking for an opportunity to be able to do business with the country. And so anytime that there's a prospect or a concept, we talk about it and we find out whether or not we should be able to put in, if there is a RFP, request for proposal, if we should put in a proposal, so forth and so on. You understand? And so I presented to the government an opportunity to be able to look at, especially after Dorian. And right after Dorian, when we had so many persons coming over from the mud and pigeon peas, how do we now accommodate these particular persons? All right, they can bring them in Nassau, they can put them in Kendall Isaac, they can give every one of them a cell phone, they can have these people here to check them out, they can do this, they can do that. And suppose somebody get away, suppose somebody slipped away, how do we track these particular people? So we created a track. My company, my grouping and I, HG Consultancy, my grouping and I came up with a track. This is how we're going to track these particular persons. We identified, we was able to test the concept, test the model. We could show them the demo. We did everything. We showed them everything. And it was nothing. When the pandemic came, I'm telling you the truth. When the pandemic came, we presented to the same grouping, same everything, about a way to be able to utilize payment, right? Remember people would communicate and pay and do all these things through WhatsApp, and you had to send your credit card, and you didn't have this and you didn't have that, and these people didn't have anything to show you what their store had and all these things. You remember that? They here, my back itching. They here and doing all these things, right? And in the midst of being able to do that, they didn't know how to be able to get to their payments. So they were here, they had the concepts, they had the idea, but they didn't know how to get to the payment. They were using WhatsApp, taking pictures of credit cards, doing this, doing that. In the store, you can't get in the store. You got to drive down there and sit on a line and wrap around the building 6 feet apart out in the hot sun trying to get in the store to be able to purchase this particular thing, which you don't even know if they have it in the store. You don't even know. You had to go to curbside. You had to wait for these. You don't even know, because we are in the Stone Ages with technology. You got technology, but you're not utilizing it properly. You got it propped up very nicely right here. Hey, listen, we got this nice little thing here. But they're not utilizing it. They're not putting it where it's supposed to be. They're not developing things that they're supposed to. They're not doing any of these things. So we came up with the concept. And we presented it to them. Tell them, boom, 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 boom. This is how we can do it. This is how we can structure it. This is how we can set it up. If you give us an opportunity for this, this, and this, and we know we can make some money. We're not going to do this for free. I didn't ask the government for no money. We're going to make some money, half a cent on every transaction that happens like this, this, and this, and all these particular things. I set it up. Rejected. Bang. Until I see an old fellow with the same concept I had, who came in months and months after everything was already kind of leveled out, and was given an opportunity. I didn't feel any way about it. He moved at the same molasses pace, the molasses pace as the others. And so they were content with being able to deal with him, because he knows their pace, he knows their era, he knows their time, and they trust him. They went with him. Now, we would have lost almost 6 months of production, and we still haven't gotten to peak production as we're supposed to in this particular space. But this is just who it is. This is who these fellas is. They ain't mad at you. They ain't hate you. They just know how to do things the way that they do. They're not enthusiastic about being able to learn anything new. They don't need no new friends in this space, no new enemies in this space, no new challenges in this space, no creativity in this space. All we need to know is that it operates the way that it always operates. Yeah. If you look at Scotia Bank, look at Scotia Bank ATM, look at RBC ATM, look at Commonwealth Bank ATM, look at Bank of the Bahamas ATM. Now, technology continues to be able to grow from one generation to another with these particular things, simply because security measures, accessibility, expansion. We know that the Canadian banks indicated that they're going to be able to do some winding up, and so you could do more functions at your ATM. You could do more functions with your money at the ATM as opposed to being able to go and see a teller. So the ATM has to be prepared. New generations, second generation, third generations, the new generations at the ATM has to be prepared to be able to ensure that they could accommodate you when you're coming here to do these particular things. Look at the ATM. Then you go to Bank of the Bahamas. My bank. I want to fight the ATM. Every time I get there, I want to punch it. You never got no money in it. How the hell you can't have no money on Arawak, where all the movement is happening right here on Arawak? You ain't got no money there. And nothing that could be able to alert or notify you down at the head office. You can't do that, not with these first generation ATMs. But you get first generation ATMs because the fellow who made the agreement for the ATMs made it an agreement with this particular person that happened way back in whenever. And so that relationship still exists. And so that's how you make your money. This our man, this our contact, and this will be using. Bang. You got to wait for that company to catch up with progressive technology in other spaces, and we just have to wait. All the private sectors in the country right now, they're utilizing, you could be able to put your thumb there to be able to check in. In some spaces, in some places, you can be able to go from a private sector standpoint. There's a notification when you get in on the property. When you get in the vicinity of the property, your phone could be able to clicking, and you could be able to be checked in to say that you're at work once you get on the property via your telephone. You don't need no chip in your bottom lip and all these things like that. Via your telephone, whenever you get to work, bling, bing, you are here. The government of the Bahamas is still utilizing these login books. The whole world trying to go paperless. Our country indicated that they're getting paperless. In fact, they don't want to give. I got to walk out your store with my wife toiletries in my hand, my dog meat in my hand, my baby's juice. I got to lift up the bottom of my shirt to make a little bag to walk these things out the store whilst the world is going paperless. You indicate that let's try this in the stores first, but buying every logbook known to man. These fellows are only content with doing things the way that they know. They're afraid to learn. They're afraid to step into a new era, new day, a new time. They're afraid. And I don't mean that have nothing to do with the FNM or the PLP. There's a mindset that exists in this country. For the most part, these old fellas have set up these particular barricades to ensure that the money could always flow through them. Because they only want to be relevant and they want to keep putting something in their pocket while they live it. Stagnating everything. Everybody got to wait because this old system, what they had set up, they don't want to be able to make modifications with it because this is our guy. This is who we go to. This is our guy. That's the problem that Michael Pintard is having in the Free National Movement. Not that his dreams are grandiose. The problem is that the organization itself doesn't believe in him collectively. I'm not talking about the people that champion him at the forefront and shake the pom-poms for the Free National Movement. I'm talking about those people who push the needle forward strategically within the back. There is a conglomerate that doesn't necessarily believe in him. And he's not getting the access to some things. I'm telling you, man, that's just how this country goes. That's how it goes. And I've recognized that. And I can't come into your business with no hopes and dreams and ideas to be able to grow no more. I can't do that. I've done that so much and been insulted and embarrassed every time I presented a concept to them. This man, Andrew Tilley, he was the general manager at the Malia Hotel. Came down and he had this sort of he was like an overlord. And he came down and he wanted to do some things different. He was determined to be able to see productivity, profitability, and progression and growth in the hotel. But I think that he didn't have the tools to do it. He wasn't. His arrogance was potent, like orange juice with pulp in it. And the pulp was the whole orange. That's how potent it was. His arrogance was astronomical. He thought he knew. He swore he knew. And he didn't have the posture to learn. He came in. One of the first meetings we had, I'm one of the youngest managers here. He came into the hotel. And when he came into the hotel, he said, we used to rent the towel cards for $25 a day. Now, in the country, all of us as Bahamians know that no one can own the beach. The beach belongs to the people. Okay? What the hotel did for supplementary income or another arm of income, another revenue stream in the hotel is that we rented towel cards. The towel cards are rented at $25 a day. You come in on the boat, you ain't staying all day, you don't need a room, so forth and so on, but you just want to be able to get in a secured environment without being able to be up and down, you want to do some sunbathing, so forth and so on. So what we do is we rent you a towel card that gives you access to, it don't give you access to the beach. Now, as a tourist, you don't know this. It doesn't give you access to the beach. It gives you access to our pool area. It says that you're supposed to be on the property. Okay? So, we give you the towel card, and then we give you a band, a strap, to say that you get a day pass with us, right? It's $25. There's nothing to talk about, right? When you go down to the pool, you still got to buy your own food. You still got to buy your own drinks, but we were able to make some money from the towels, $25, and the beach chairs. He came and he said he wanted to do it for $120. I looking around the table, and nobody saying nothing. I looking around the table, are y'all gonna let the man just say that? Nobody can say nothing to him? So I put up my hand. Only in hindsight we know that my mouth is my problem. Only in hindsight. Oh, Jesus. I put up my hand. I said, hey, Mr. Tilley, excuse me, sir. The hotel doesn't own the beach. You cannot increase the prices like this. The government owned the beach up to the high water mark. And so the revenue that we were able to collect as an alternative stream or an additional stream of income is something that we're grateful for. Now, it could be an incremental growth, but not necessarily that kind of a stark jump, because they could go right down to Sandals, or they could go to Goodman Bay, or they could go here, they could go there, wherever they could go. They don't have to come here. But we've created an environment where the cruise ship send them to us, or the person send them to us. He said, who are you? I said, oh, Jesus Christ, this ain't gonna be good. This already didn't sound like this ain't gonna be good. people have a level of arrogance, and the only thing that they want to do is what they've always done. This is what you're suffering with in the Free National Movement. Hubert Ingram don't have the brain cells or desire to hear anything other than what he know in his head. And so if you're getting advice from him in his particular capacity, while this was great for victory in 97, 92, and even in 2007 and 2026, it's an entirely different animal. And we realize that this is a stark contrast from where you need to be right now. If you had the support in the Free National Movement, I think you would be ahead by leaps and bounds in this particular dispensation. I think you would. But you don't have the support. You don't. You don't have the financial support. You don't have your colleagues that support you. You don't have leadership support. And you are the leader, but there is a phantom leadership quadrant, a phantom leadership team that you got to be able to go to, like, the Council of Nicene. You got to go to the Council of Nicene for the FNM. And they determine as a collective. You got to go to the grouping of popes. And then when we see the white smoke, we know they determine as a collective. I'm sad to see the organization like this. I am. I listening to them, I watching them, and I think I'm scrutinizing them at the same time. But I'm sad to see them in this capacity. Because I think that they could give more. They could do more. Yeah. That's neither here nor there. Let's read and see exactly what Davis says. The FNM will fire Bahamian workers if elected. They've done that so in the past. That has been the narrative. The Free National Movement had almost every one of the candidates come on last night and say that the 2,500 people will be fired if the PLP gets in again, so forth and so on. A vote for the Free National Movement is a vote for transparency and accountability. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard said that thoughts told throngs. Sorry, let me get my camera to see this. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard told throngs of supporters at the rally at Aaron Bailey Park last night that making a pitch to the voters 2 weeks before the May 12th general election, Pintard accused the Davis administration of betraying voters, many of whom he said are suffering. He urged voters to hit the reset button and vote to ensure public. Do y'all have enough of this? Am I doing too much? I don't want to overkill this because I could analyze these things all day, right? He said things about hit the reset button. Resources are used to their benefit. This is your chance to hit the reset button, to throw them out of office because they have betrayed your trust. Pintard says that they are living large and far too many of our people are suffering. I just have to take my time. I got to put this coffee down. I can't deal with this. This is too much. I can say this to you. I can say this. In 2016, under Minnis, from 2015, okay? I came to Nassau in 2012. 2013, I was working. 2014, I was out of work, right? They tell me, leave their place, okay? I opened up my business, Palette Pleasers, in 2014, 15. And then I got, at the end of 2014, beginning of 2015, involved in radio. Okay? I was on Warren McCartney show all that time, and simultaneously having a desire to be able to support the Free National Movement. Every place they went, I went. Or we go into a church thing by Cousin McPhee, or we get into a church thing down Church of God, Jumper Church, we get in here, we get wherever they go. Wherever they go, I was there. Wherever they go, they get in Leon Wallace Church, I was there. I sat in the back because I didn't have this kind of an interaction and stuff like that. I didn't know, But I sat in the back and I went to every service during this time. I was a big supporter of Dr. Hubert Alexander Ingram. Big supporter. Big supporter. Okay? And in every one of those church services, people begged the leadership, please do not forget about us. Every single one, they beg, they say, please help FNMs. Every church service they went to, listen, the bishops, the pastors came together, hold hands, and say, Lord, let them not forget about their people, Jesus. Every single one minister made a promise that he's going to take care of FNMs when he is in. And he has not fulfilled that promise. He did not fulfill that promise. There was a hatred, there was a disdain, there was a divide that exists between the FNM and the PLP because of this moment right here. This idea that the PLP, despite your position in the organization, will empower you in one way or another. And no matter how the FNM say, well, they're giving out contracts and they're giving out no-bid contracts and all these things should go by law, rules, regulations. I agree. But this is exactly what the FNM was begging for. And Hubert Ingram never gave them. Hubert Minnis never gave them. Okay? The FNM was begging for an opportunity to be identified and be empowered. And the Free National Movement under Minnis' leadership never took care of its people. Never. Okay? The Free National Movement over the past 20 years have not taken care of its people the way that it should. Have not empowered people from an entrepreneurial standpoint, have not provided contracts for these particular persons. When they provide you the contract, they finagle their way in trying to be able to see who could get what and what could get this and that and all these things like that. Allegations and speculations of persons within the organization having 3 and 4 contracts, giving it to their sweetheart, all these particular things. The Free National Movement has not taken care of its people over the course of the past 20 years in the organization. They have not. Right down to the opportunity to be able to feed people. They didn't do it for those people who've been feeding people all this time. The Free National Movement didn't identify this via constituency. They said we can do a feeding campaign. They give the whole thing to Halawaska them. They didn't break it into constituencies and 40 and 39 constituencies throughout the country and identifying those particular persons and saying, who does cook for the little children round here? Who does do this and this round here? You didn't call the constituency office for the Free National Movement in various constituencies and say, hey, listen, who does this down here? You didn't do any of that. You didn't do any of that. You know what you did? You found yourself in this position and you figure it would be the easiest thing to do, just give it to Halawaska Dam. And just give it, boom, you just give it away. And after you did that, just kind of give the thing away. Didn't worry about it, give it away. The people who needed to be touched, you never touched. The people who needed to be taken care of, you never took care of. And this is the legacy and the legend of the Free National Movement over the past 20 years in this country. It sickens me. I'm disgusted to be able to read this language as though this is an organization that has totally shifted and changed off its axis for being able to always look from an external standpoint to see how they could empower these people that exist on the perimeter. Not on a day-to-day basis, not on a community basis. Now, how do we now empower these people like we have an obligation to find a way to give them something back? People that none of us see on a day-to-day basis in the organization. They may exist in the background, but we don't see these people on a day-to-day basis. Hello? Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. I hate to read these things about the FNM. I hate it because I feel like as you take on this kind of a position and say, "Ooh, they could lie," as I'm watching you, I know that this is disingenuous. And, as a statesman, I know that this is inaccurate information that you're providing to the Bahamian people. I know that the source of this information is a desire to be able to project a particular idea into the minds of the Bahamian people to cause them to look away from what's happening in the Progressive Liberal Party. I understand. But this is not the party that we know. This is not the party that we know. I'm disappointed to see the FNM shifting off its axis, continuing to be able to shift and looking for a glimmer of hope, a path to be able to get to that silver lining at the end of the rainbow, at the end of the tunnel, actually. SOS. Let's be very clear. As you look into these particular things and have a very clear understanding of what's happening, you don't even know that you are projecting relentless desperation. Nobody negotiates with desperate people. It's the worst time to enter the negotiation when you're desperate. The Free National Movement has taken on this kind of position, and they adopted last evening this signal, SOS. Now, SOS is the official international Morse code distress signal, right? It came out in the 1960s. It's used by ships and aircrafts and signal immediate danger, just to be able to signal that, right? And identify these things. But it has always been 1906. But it has always been for 120 years, from 1906. For 120 years, it has been identified as Save Our Souls. Save Our Souls, that was the distress signal. Or Save Our Ship. The letters don't necessarily stand for any words. They are chosen for being easily transmitted and recognized as SOS, Save Our Souls, SOS, Save Our Ship, SOS. It's an emergency distress. In modern technology, iPhones, the emergency SOS feature, which calls emergency services without a cellular network. In formal and daily life, I need an SOS from the boring meeting, or SOS, he's back. Save Our Souls. In the medical aspects, in the prescriptions, it stands for Latin C opposite, right? Meaning if necessary, required, if needed. The Free National Movement has taken on this kind of a position to be able to show us on their sparsely distributed shirts, inconsistent, the uniformity is poor. People wearing all kind of different things here. I don't know what's going on. All these things that just show people that you may not necessarily be prepared this go round. We watching these things. And if they ain't watching it, I'm watching it. I'm trying to tell you something. And as I say these things, I'm looking at this and having a very clear understanding of what's going on. The Free National Movement has lost its way. They're going from SOS, Save Our Soul, Save Our Sovereignty, taking on the same projection of Adrian Francis and his Operation Sovereign Bahamas, right? Taking on the same position of Lincoln Bain in that particular position. Why would a 50-year-old organization look to the ideas that existed, that was rejected ideas throughout our society, ideas that are rinse, repeat on a repeat cycle, to be able to inject in a formal approach to be able to get to a leadership and to get to victory on May 12th? Why is the Free National Movement pivoting in the middle of the thing? In the middle of, listen. In the middle of a campaign course. Why would you change course? Why? Why? We knew you did not have. Oh, all right, so when you come up with a product, okay? When you come up with a product, an idea, whether that's coffee or iPhone or this or that, you have to be able to sample it, okay? You give it to a grouping and you test the strength of this, okay? They identify it, they tear it apart, they look for the SWOT analysis, they make a determination, and then you decide whether or not you're going with 1, 2, or 3, and then you decide to go with the best one that actually perform well among these particular groupings that say that this is good. The Free National Movement should have an internal grouping that should have been able to work the concept that we work for you. To know, okay, I don't think this is going to be good. You're a consultant. You come from Miami. You'd like to be able to, oh, this is Barack Obama's, oh my God, this is Barack Obama's campaign lead. He's been doing all those things for Barack Obama. It is a wonderful thing, and he's going to do us great things, and you still lose. Only person win is him. Oh, well, this is the consultant. He did some great things over there in for Andrew Holdings and all these things like that. Boom. You see me and Motley talking about it right now. A consultant being able to come over there and make all these. Listen, you all need to stop this foolishness, man. Politics is local. How the hell you could bring somebody else from someplace else who don't know nothing but your place at all and give them $350,000, $400,000 so they could go through the community and identify and ask questions to the same people that I could ask questions to for $150. I can't even get away, man. You don't even got to give me $150. You give me $100. I'm good with that. And I know if I tell you $100, you can shave 15. Well, how? My God, we ain't got $100, you know. You can try our hardest to get it to you. We got 85. What you gonna do? Give me the 85, okay? For God's sake. Joe paid this man $350,000, $400,000 to tell you that these things can work. None of these things work. None. I only can pray for you all and hope you're the absolute best and being able to do those things for you. So that's all I could say. And I ain't gonna belabor the point and be able to talk about those things, right? Voter register errors due to the system glitch. If I'm worried about the credibility of the election, how would that be impacted? There's a couple of things that stood out to me. This kind of approach that the leader of the Free National Movement has taken to be able to always kind of amplify and show you that we need international observers. Shanique is my girl, and I want to be able to say something about you, about this. And I think that she was upset about this. Now, she ain't never said this to me, but I think she was upset about this. When Sam Bankman-Fried was locked up here, I was on the show with Shanique. Shanique is my girl. Now, this ain't nothing bad. I'm simply saying to you, sometimes we get so enthralled in the moment that we forget about some stuff. So I'm on the show with Shanique, and we having a great conversation, enjoying the show. Always have a good time with Shanique, right? And Shanique says, so Howard, we come back from the break. So Howard, tell me about that. You think Sam Bankman-Fried have his own personal chef in Her Majesty's prison? And Shanique said that she didn't mean anything by it. I know she didn't mean anything by it. But there was reporters up and down in the country for this billions and billions of dollars this man had there in this country, wrapped up in this Bitcoin and all these other things like that, right? Cryptocurrency. So when she said that, I only remember that I was watching New York News, and I was watching Al Jazeera, and I was watching some other stuff, right? And all of them was taking clippings from newscasts in the country. So you would have seen Jerome and Shanique and other persons on newscasts around the world. And you would have also seen or heard reporters quoting Shanique and Jerome and myself or Dwight, or they listening into all activities in the country, and they're quoting this information to the world as though it's factual, right? And also, minutes just say that we lose $500 million to corruption every year. And this sort of a corruption concept was the undertone of, internally we knew what to expect. Internally we understood exactly what's what. But today wasn't a conversation that was happening in our house. This conversation was happening around the country. And I know she was a little bit upset with me on that day. As I said, Shanique, I think we need to be more responsible in our capacity as journalists from a national standpoint, and recognize that the world is watching us, and don't want to give this sort of an innuendo that there is any level of corruption in our country. The fact is, Sam Bankman-Fried is locked up, and whatever they eat, he eaten. Shanique was upset with me with that. She was very, very upset with me for that. She never said anything about it, but I know she was. Because I never been back on a show with her since then. I am out of her. She's my girl. Me and I don't have no problems. I understood. And that was it. I never sat with her on her show. I sat on her show. I never sat with her on her show since then. She may even forget why. But I ain't forget. I ain't forget. See, there's a thing that I have in my head. Especially when I know people watching. Because all the world's a stage. When people are watching, you have the responsibility of being able to perform at your utmost best. And give your best. Now, giving your best should be something that you do naturally. But if you aren't natural at being able to do this, when you know people watching you, you got to put your best foot forward because you're on the world stage. This relentless request that the Free National Movement is making for these observers to come and then simultaneously calling people liars on the stage and then saying people selling passports and all these people. What the hell you calling people for? What you calling people for? What you calling people for? To make fun of you? To make fun of your democracy, to make fun of your position in this country, to you willing to be able to denigrate the PLP to such a degree that we are all viewed in the light of a corrupt nation, that we are a banana republic? You're calling these people to come from all over the world to observe what we're doing, to stand up on the stage and dance up and down, to shake and jive like a monkey, to make a mockery out of the system that actually causes our country to move in one direction or another, and you up here vying for a position and then calling people liars the same time, calling people thief the same time. What you calling these people for? And our prime minister is taking a statesman's posture and indicating, well, this is our position, and this is what we will do, and we can go higher and whatnot. Speaking as a statesman, because observers are here. And we have a responsibility to uphold the thing that's ours, the thing that we love. This is our home. You ain't gonna let anybody come in my home and make fun of me. Look how Howard them living in this house. No. No matter the indifference that I have, me and my wife could just be rowing and you come in the house. You could still feel the tension in the air. But she's going to accommodate you, make sure that you're comfortable. I'm going to accommodate you, make sure that you're comfortable. The children are going to accommodate you, make sure that you're comfortable. Everything is going to be taken care of. Even if it's feel like an awkward silence, we ain't going to talk bad about each other in front of you. We don't know who you is, buddy. We don't know you. You are a visitor in our house, and you will get the experience of what a visitor would get. Sitting in front of nobody telling this one is a liar. Oh my God, he's a thief. Oh, passports for sale. What are y'all doing? This is not the Free National Movement, the organization that Victory knows your coordinates. This is not the Free National Movement who sat in Victory for the majority of the past 30 years. This is not the Free National Movement. This is not the Free National Movement. This is not. You all are making a mockery of our system and a mockery of your organization. Mature, grown men that are identified and amplified and hoisted above our shoulders, that people would praise you, worship you in a sense, with an expectation that you be able to do the right thing. Not only for yourselves, but for the country. And you out here making a mockery of who we are. And anybody who disagree with you, you ready to chop their head off. Anybody who disagree with you, you sensitive to the point where you don't even want to talk to them. You don't even know how to have political decorum. There is a hatred and a disdain that you all have for these particular persons. It's wrong, man. It's wrong. It's wrong. As bad as you all do me, I still professional with you. I smile with you. I shake your hand. I extend an opportunity for you. And you all spit on my name. That's okay, because I'm still here. And I was here before. In this kind of a space, I was here before you all. This is what I just do. And until Jesus Christ tell me otherwise, this is what I just do. I'm protected. This is what I just do. No matter who like me or don't like me, I straight Bella, I straight baby. You don't know how I get certain things yet, because the favor of God, praise God. I'm disappointed in y'all. And worse, I'm disappointed in y'all Christian FNMs, and not one of y'all can tell this man this is not who we stand for in this party. You all believe in Jesus Christ and lifting holy hands. Oh, hallelujah, praise Jesus. Yes, God, yes. And this man talking foolishness about our country. You're not only pulling down Philip Brave Davis, you're pulling down the Bahamian way of life. This is our country. You think collectively with that we know, accept, and understand that the Prime Minister is a thief and we accept that? Come on, man. Come on. There's significant allegations levied against everyone, including the Prime Minister and the Free National and the Progressive Liberal Party and all these things. All of that and Marvin Dame's talk last night, not one word about the 440 pounds of cocaine. Not one word. Not one word. Not one word. You talk about the $141 million. 140, how much? 41 million. You didn't talk about the 85 million. Oh, well, I was vindicated for that particular thing. Your vindication don't have nothing to do with your actual guilt. he was socially vindicated, or from a judicial standpoint, you were vindicated in those particular standpoint in terms of not executing and being able to do that. But there are some things that is marred on your heart for what you would have done or didn't do. I can't get no amen. We watching y'all, you know. We watching y'all. I just want to be decent with y'all. I won't be decent with y'all. 827-0111, 827-0111. I mean, let's see if we can read a couple more. Who's playing the better local game between the parties? I think the PLP is. I think some of the candidates are taking on this kind of position to write their own speeches as they stand up there. Their overarching message is choose progress, choose progress. Each one of the candidates has a responsibility of being able to identify what that choose progress means and filter that through their local position and in their local constituency. But they've taken on this kind of a position to say choose progress, Brave Davis is, Brave Davis is, Brave Davis is. Some of them have done that. Some of them understand the mission, have taken these particular things and had a nice, healthy blend of a conversation that has to do with their constituency and the leadership that exists in the PLP and the importance of being able to choose both them and their capacity and their constituency and being able to pair that with Brave Davis. I think that they're doing good. I think that the arrogance you talked about yesterday is creeping into the FNM now, that the crowd that they had was very good last night, but the word on the street is that even from the FNMs, that those people were not Nassau only. There was a major import from Grand Bahama Abaco and some of the islands. This is a text that's coming through. I saw some Grand Bahamian people out there, and I couldn't tell you all the other people, but I saw some Grand Bahamian people out there. But I see some Grand Bahamian people at the PLP rally also. So don't fight them for that, right? So it says, yeah, boy, I ain't gonna lie, Howard. I've been to those rallies, and the PLP had some of the finest women I see in my life, from the light skin to the mango skin to the dark skin. Yeah, I marry one PLP woman. Praise Jesus. That's how you have to have a nice, healthy blend. Yeah, you got to get the opposite. I marry one. I say, did you hear the song from the young man about it? It says, oh yeah, send it to me. Howard, Brave said something a few weeks ago that has stayed with me. People would be excited to burn down the country if they can sit atop of the ashes as the king. I don't think that people consciously understand that this is what they're doing. Just like I said to you, my very good friend, I don't have no problem with Shanique. Me and her just sat down the other day and had lunch. I don't have no problem with Shanique. You understand? Just last week, we sat down together and we had lunch. All right? I don't have absolutely no problem with Shanique. I say this to you so you could send it to her like it's an issue. I say this to you that sometimes we get wrapped in the moment and don't understand that we are not low. See, if there was any other time, I would engage Shanique. I promise you, if there was any other time and we just was having an internal conversation, I would engage her. But because we were having a national, an international, a global conversation about a matter, and the entire world was watching us, I couldn't travel that road to help Minis call the Bahamas Kirap. I couldn't do that. You understand? As I look at these particular things, I just wanted to say this, man. I want to let you guys know that this election will come and go, you know. Whether the PLP win or the FNM win, that don't make no difference. It really don't make a difference. Don't make a difference. You're going to have to make your own sunshine, right? You're going to have to figure out how you can be able to take care of yourself and your family. You're going to have to figure out how you can be able to make the next step. You're going to have to figure out how you can do these things for yourself. You're in this kind of a position. You're going to have to figure these things out for yourself. You're going to have to figure this out. I can't come here and hate you and pull you down to the ground. I can't do that. I can't. Life has a peculiar way of being able to do these things. We have to remember that we are brothers, sisters, our brothers, keepers. And even if you don't believe in something like that, we are a community, man. We're a very small nation and a small amount of people. There's 400,000 people ain't nothing to talk about. There's 400,000 people ain't nothing to talk about. This is a joke. This ain't nothing to talk about from a global perspective and understanding that 8.8 billion people out there. We ain't even a part of the 0.8 billion. This is a very small amount. If we don't collaborate, if we don't find ourselves fused together, if we don't be able to support each other, we are going to get lost. We are going to lose our identity. We're going to lose our country. We're going to lose our sovereignty. We're going to lose our language. We're going to lose our people. We're going to lose our love. We're going to lose our country if we don't find a way to be able to make these things happen. Your relentless pursuit after power in your mind of being able to vindicate yourself and say that I knew that I was doesn't do anything for the country. You have to stay steadfast. I will never, listen to me. I always know I wanted to have money. I like how money feel in my pocket. When I was working at the hotel, I used to make $1,000 tips. Like people to just give me $1,000. I knew I was good at what I did. When they was giving my other coworkers $5 tips, they was giving me $200. It got to the point where I had to stop telling people how much tips I make. That's how I used to gauge whether or not I was good at what I did. When a man or a woman felt the necessity for being able to give you something from their money, I getting paid, I working, I getting paid. Every time I do something at one point, I was getting $1,500, $1,000, $1,500, $1,000. And you got to think about this. This ain't a casino. This ain't where I just make some loose money, it's a slack money. These are people that work into the hotel. I'm rendering service to them on a day-to-day basis. There was one point I take these guys fishing in my car. I take these guys in my Cadillac to 8 Mile Rock to get N&A chicken and Triple D crack hunk. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't do this to say, oh my God, I gave them an authentic Bahamian experience, and every single time I came up with cash. I used to be rolling around with $5,000, $7,000 just cash. That ain't my salary, that's just money. I like how money feel in my pocket. I like juking my hand in my pocket and they say, hey, what's going on, boy? I like that. I like that. I like when you ask me, man, let me say, I say, well, hold on. My wife say, why are you so stupid? Why you pull all your money out? I say, hey. This is my money, baby. What are they going to do? Fight me? How? You don't know what they can do? I said, listen, baby, just relax. Put this in your pocket. I like money, how it feel in my pocket. This is before Epiphany, before all of these things of God, before understanding these particular things. Money, Mammon was my guy. I didn't know Mammon was my guy, but this is my approach. Even then, and especially now, I'm not willing to do any and everything for money. There are some things that, and some people, that their money ain't good. I will refuse it 100%. That equates to the exact same concept for power in this country. How can you be willing to do whatever it takes to get power? How can you be willing to lose who you are to acquire something? I'll tell you this very quickly. This girl was cutting up with me, flirting with me. Howard Grant married now. It's the married Howard Grant. She flirting with me, cutting up with me. And I said, what you doing? I'm telling you the truth. So she said, well, Howard, I just want to know you like me. I said, how you could like people's husband? You wilding out, baby. You need to stop it. Now, I know that my charm is absolutely undeniable. Talk to me with clarity. I know that. I'm on air. I'm calling you right back. I'll call you right back. I know that my charm is absolutely undeniable in these particular capacities. But let's just be very clear. I got to start this next show, so I got to be able to get out of here. Let's be very clear about something. I said, baby, I could do this. She said, well, Howard, I don't know. I mean, you have 2 arms, 2 ears, 2 hands, and you manage them well. I don't understand why it would be a problem for you to be able to have 2 women. So I said, what are you talking about? So I said, listen to me, get thee behind me, Satan. Yeah, you need to stop it. So I said to her, and this is a conversation we have in front of each other. How would you text a woman? No, I was talking to her, right? So I said to her, let me explain something to you. What would you like me for? She said, I think that you're charming. I think that you're smart. I think that you're intelligent. I think that you're God-fearing. I think that you're this. I think that you're that. All these particular qualities, right? It's great stuff. I said, and as soon as I bought it with you, I don't have none of them no more. I said, as soon as I touch you, I don't have none of them no more. So all you know and you with is an idea of what existed in the past. Because as soon as I drop my morality, as soon as I drop my God, as soon as I drop my standards, my conviction and my position to align with this darkness, I'm no longer this man. As soon as you've put down the caliber of things that you stood for in the Free National Movement, you can no longer be the organization that we envision, that we held high. And this is what you got to consider. That's the show today, guys. I want to thank you so very kindly. It is 2:00, and I got to go get ready for this next one that we're going to be pushing out right now, which is the Foundation Prime Time. If you guys want to be able to find me out about that, make sure you check me out on Facebook. You can be able to see that. I want to thank you so very kindly. Dove 103.7 in Grand Bahama. Foundation 242 all across various platforms. I hope you guys are good. I want to thank you so much for being able to chime in and tune in with us. We're going to see you again next time.